can't join. Okay, perfect. So yeah, just wanted to do a quick stream, um, because obviously everything is going, and majority of the people are crashing out on Twitter, different discords, analysts are crashing out, but nothing out of the ordinary is happening here, right? We've been positioned for this, we've been talking about this, we've been talking about how odds look absolutely ready to go, how I do think Bitcoin's headed for a blow off top. That was my thesis, that was the reason I positioned the way I did, and I also told you guys to position with that in mind if you agree with me. So we'll just take a look at everything. First things first, okay, let's look at Bitcoin. Above the 2.618 once again. So Bitcoin, not fully out of the woodworks yet, right? Not fully out of the woodworks yet. You still have resistance above you. You're not above previous all-time highs right now, which is around 112k, let's say. Plus the shark pattern we were looking at, right? That 1.618 extension that we talked about. That gave us this shark. We are about to hit the 886s and the 1.13s of those sharks. Very, very soon. We've got 110k, 113k for the extension. So we do have a level we need to get above, right? We could do this and then have a bigger pullback, perhaps 5.0 to higher or something like this, right? Could happen. We could go here, get a bullish 5.0 and then go higher. Who knows? If you wanted to get a bullish 5.0, you're looking at something like this, basically, right? You're looking at this. Up over here, basically, there. Down to the 1.618. Up to the, let's say we go to the 1.13 for now. So this should say it's a 2.043. So somewhere around there. There. And perhaps we get a 0.5, something like this, before we go higher, right? Could happen because you'd go up, flip the B point into support, and then go up, right? Could be the final flush you get before higher. Would also be now a cumulative structure that we were looking at, right? Now the bigger cumulative structure we were looking at, of course, is this one. But if we aren't going to get that bigger drop down towards 90, which right now, obviously, we're going to focus on this first, then perhaps we get some sort of mini accumulative structure around over here. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face with the bullish 5.0 and then go up. Could happen, right? For me, that would still align very well with the blow off top scenario, because we're under 4 hours. This can happen like within the space of a week even, right? So something like that's worth keeping an eye on for now. We are coming up to the shark extension targets we pointed out back in the 5th of June, right? That stream we did. So I'll be watching for bullish 5.0s. I'm not going to be blindly adding here, right? We're majority positioned on the challenge account, right? My main account. Whatever cash I have left, I'm not going to blindly throw in here. That's only going to be thrown in if we get this. Otherwise, I'm more than happy taking that cash and putting it, just throwing it into spot of something else, right? Otherwise, smiley face is what I'm interested in.
You hit lock.
Who just jumped in?
I'm gonna go hop on this stream then.
Okay. Yo, what's up, guys? Conclude, CC. John, welcome in, bro. But yeah, let's see if we can get this smiley face. If not, I'm more than happy just proceeding up to 121, 132. More than happy if it just goes up. Otherwise, the smiley face is what I'm after. Let's see if we get it. Flush out the late longs, wreck them, make them think, oh yeah, the top is in, only to flush out the late shorts, and then absolutely send it. For me, that'd be picturesque here now. Just an idea for now, okay? But I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. Remember this squiggle. Apart from that though, this is why I kept telling you guys, diagonals, right? If you're looking at this in terms of horizontals, let's just say you had a way easier time if you're trying to look at this in terms of diagonals instead. So if I go to Bitcoin on the index, this is why I mentioned to you guys, as long as we are above this key zone, right? This was mentioned countless times. As long as we maintain control of this zone on the higher time frame, which again, take a look, we are going to be pushing higher. Diagonals are the truth, okay? So now, next intersection wise, again, we have the 120k area, right? The intersection could happen literally by within like a couple of days time, should Bitcoin decide to just give us that insane move up straight away. But if we get the sharks first, and then they come in and we get that lower time frame smiley face, for example, before we go higher, then it could happen by like the end of June, right? But this is another reason I gave you guys that thesis of I have until the end of June to see if we get a blow off top or not for now, right? Because again, remember my system intersections doesn't just give us valid price targets, but it also gives us time targets for those price targets, right? And we had a very valid time target for a price right up in this area, and for now we're on track to hit that price target in time. If we keep going sideways and this intersection is finished, then we don't consider this a time target anymore. We would now be looking at higher prices like 140 or 136, so on and so forth. Those are the intersections we have. Otherwise the intersections are lower, right? But for now we are very much on track for this intersection. Eugene, bro, would you mind muting your mic, please, just in case you talk about anything sensitive? This will be on YouTube, so I wouldn't want it to get leaked. Hang on, I'll do it for you. What's the... Oh, there we go. Okay, nice. Okay, so that's that. But Bitcoin, even on the daily, looks good. Of course, we have 2 minutes on the daily close, but that is for now an extremely beautiful daily candle. Even this daily candle right now is saying, well, sellers have tried on the day to go lower, but buyers haven't let them, right? We're maintaining. Of course, the next day it could break down, fill the gap and go up, so on and so forth. We just take it day by day. Bitcoin, fantastic. Also the reason, one of the reason, is this the one sec? Yeah, this is the one. If I go to Binance first, then we go to these. So what I have on the screen here is key levels based on volume, right? There is no weakness coming in the spot Binance chart. Standard deviation 1 value area high, flip to support. This is the value area high of the high to the low, right? Standard deviation 1 flip to support. 1.5 flip to support. You're not going to hit those externals. That's your next target, as long as you're above these, right? If you then look at Bybit, so we've now taken a look at the spot chart. If you look at the perpetual chart as well in terms of volume, the perpetual chart is also telling you you are now approaching key areas. That scalp BTC long that I entered over here, I think I pinged it in the chat. I said if you see weakness, take the short. Daily closed under, there's your weakness. You would have taken the short with stop loss above that, right? I'm out of that scalp because your daily buy seller zone got filled, right? Sorry, 4-hour buy seller zone got filled, and for me that's enough. My thesis to the upside right now, I'm not going to be holding. That was simply a scalp. So now let's see what happens when we again go towards these prices. That's why I mean we're not completely out of the woodworks yet. We still have resistance above us, but if we can clear these, like it's it's going to be price discovery again. It's as simple as that. And the thesis I gave you guys is, if you were to get that breakdown over here, also going to chop more, but we didn't, right? We flipped it to support instead, therefore also running. It's as simple as that. But that's enough on Bitcoin, right? So let's take a look next at Ethereum. Ethereum right there. Hopefully you guys also see why I told you not to take any sizable plays in this range, right? You haven't taken any key targets out yet, okay? Let me also open up the let me open up this one sec. There. We are approaching key levels, right? We have our 2022 impulse mid at around 2,878, 75, so on and so forth. Above that, we've got our 3K target. We're waiting for 3,035. Above that, we've got that 3,185. So now that we do have key levels coming up for ETH. As you can see from looking at the left, right? What we have is support, support, resistance, support, resistance. So we are coming up to very, very key areas, which is why again I'm saying do not. If you didn't position at the lows, this would be now an area where if you're going to enter, you wouldn't do so with full position yet, in my opinion, right? Wait for confirmation of these levels, like individual levels. For example, this flipping to support is literally right above you now to enter some more. Otherwise, you're looking for either those lows to get taken out, or you're looking for these highs here to get taken out, and then some sizable structure to come in. Let's say the monthly fair value gap mid to be flipped into support, so on and so forth, before you decide to take any place now. Okay. But ETH, you should already be positioned. We talked about this for so long when it was down over here, so long, right? So many entries were given for this, in many different streams, even in the relevant channel. No one should be scrambling for positions on ETH. This is something we should all be in. But ETH looks absolutely fantastic. And let me just say, okay, it's the same people that were saying, oh, ETH is dead, bloody blah blah down over here, that's going to be start to flip bullish over here. And of course, better late than never. But this is why market sentiment and mentality is so important, right? I was talking so long about how, yes, as long as you hold this key level, always fine on ETH, right? What I said was, if you get below this, just wait, just be patient until you either reclaim or you get down towards 1,500. We got that 1,500. We identified on ETH, what did we identify? Just as a reminder real quick, what we identified on ETH was the let me go to this 1 second. What we identified was this massive seller absorption that had taken place, right? Huge amount of sell pressure, and yet absorption in terms of the candle close. Sellers got absorbed. We identified all the relevant strength that we needed on Ethereum. On the weekly, we've now flipped bearish imbalances into support, so on and so forth. So Ethereum, it can absolutely send from here. Very, very easily it can send from here, right? We do not need to get a sizable pullback. If the momentum just keeps on going now, we're not going to get that, which is why you just enter when everyone else is thinking, oh, ETH is dead, no one's going to enter this is going to go to triple digits. Did it go to triple digits? No, it didn't, right? Those key levels we were so adamant on, those key levels we were waiting for, those are the ones that got hit, right? Don't need this anymore. Hang on, I need a cleaner chart for this. That is no longer valid. This is no longer valid. This is also no longer valid. Hang on, 1 sec. H43, so basically a 786. 1.272. Something like that would be valid. I've got a chart already with this, hence I'm actually going to turn these off. 1 second. Yeah, there, just turn that off. I've already got these, right? Don't even need ABCDs right now. You've got 5-point wave structures. But you know, ABCDs nonetheless. Right over here, 786, 1.272, 4,776. 786, 1.272 of the butterfly, 5953. Macro ABCD, 1.272. And then if you go into the hop, 6,518. There's your targets. I don't think we get 10k ETH this cycle. Okay, I don't think it's gonna happen. But these are all areas where you're now gonna. I think we definitely get above. I'm not gonna say definitely, but I do think we have a very high chance to go above this, make a new high, and then hit these targets. But I'm not so confident we're gonna go and put a new high and above this, right? I'd want to see. I'll be on the lookout for distributive structure, so on and so forth, coming in at this area to try and build now swing shorts. Because if I see weakness up here, we're going to have weakness at major wave structures. So for me, that would be now indicative of, okay, if you see monthly, 2-week, weekly bearish divergence, Class A, MACD, RSI, so on and so forth, buyer absorption come in place, inverted smileys going on, so on and so forth, you guys know what to look for, then for me that'll be bearish, right? But for now, there are significant levels. By no means am I saying set some limit shorts up. I'm simply saying these are the areas where you're going to analyze price action once it gets there to see, do you get confirmation of weakness or not. If no, you don't take any action until you see that weakness, right? But if you see the weakness come in, then you know there is a reason why sellers would step in over here, right? We have a technical level in terms of technical analysis for us to, let's say, pivot our price action around. So that is Ethereum. Everything looks so good. We can look at ETH against Bitcoin even, right? How long? I charted this so ahead of time. ETH against Bitcoin. Here. We literally hit the lows we marked, right? Value area low plus 2019 12-month yearly level, aggressive seller absorption, then we're now going to reclaim our pointer controls, right? Macro pointer controls way higher, but that doesn't matter. If we're above this, you get your next impulse up on ETH BTC, and that's all that matters. I do have a portion of the challenge account in ETH against BTC, literally a $200 account. So I just want to show you guys how much trading BTC pairs can benefit you, right? So that $200 is literally 100% right now. That's a 2x. It's a $400 and something right now. But that's something else we're going to talk about. Challenge account is doing well. The 21k is currently about 25 something, nearly 26 altogether, right? Simply because of the Filecoin long, the house long, so on and so forth, the Apu long, some of the spot going up, right? Once we start going really parabolic, that's when we're going to start seeing huge returns, right? So my first goal, of course, is to turn that 21k to 42k, right? And after 42k, anything after that is simply going to be a bonus. This is a pipe dream for now, but let's see if we can turn that 21k into 6 figures by the time the cycle's over. It'd be nice if we could, but if not, since I'm not going to be aggressively scalping, that's something I'm not going to be doing on the challenge account. We're just working with swings and leverage, swing isolated leverage and spot. I'm not going to be doing my usual aggressive scalping style, which is where half of my growth in my own portfolio comes from. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how much we can grow it, right, without any aggressive scalping to aid on a regular basis, simply just catching the macro moves. But literally just buying and holding, that's what we've done at key levels, right? And we're already up like, no, I'll post the screenshots when I create that channel. Not had time yet, but yeah, that's ETH against BTC. Everything looks extremely good, right? Things look good. Daily close. Yeah, okay, but I mean daily's closed now, so let's take a look. Let's go back to Bitcoin. Absolutely gorgeous daily close. You reclaimed the shark, ABCD 2.618, and then you also reclaimed the mid of that daily buy seller zone on the left here. That was resistance once. You now have a massive wick here. If we take a look at that on the look at that, that is so bullish. Everything about this candle is very bullish. Now, when I see nice candles like this, I'm always thrown off guard. But what we've done here is very significant, okay? So the last monthly close we had, obviously that was May. 1 second, well that data switched, hasn't it? It used to be up here. Let me just one sec. There we go. Okay. The May value area high. Okay, so here is your value area high for May, the point of control, the value area low, so on and so forth. We have closed above. Okay, I repeat, we have closed above the value area high of May in terms of aggressive data, in terms of footprint charts, right? In terms of the actual data, in terms of aggressive buying versus selling that has taken place. 68% of all trading range that took place in May, you're above it. You're above 1 standard deviation worth of data. Very powerful. As long as you can now maintain this zone here, basically, with any potential, you know, because if you lose this zone, then you have 1 key level at 107. Otherwise, you are going to go back down to visit this area, in which case you're going to get that smiley face a bit early, right? I would want the shark target to hit before we talk about the 0.5. But as long as you can hold above this now, previous day value area, we should be good to just push higher. Look to the left, we have no imbalances, none. All the imbalances have been taken out, right? So that means there is no area on the left where you can look at it and say, oh, there was massive amount of sellers here in the past. So yeah, it's beautiful to see, right? Because don't forget, we were down over here at the start of this month. We were at 100k, 10k lower. People were saying, oh, like, you know, again, the top could be in, we're going down towards 80k, right, so on and so forth. And now look at it, back at all-time highs near enough. all those bearish divergences, right, that many people were trying to short off of, where's it gone now, right? Higher time frame trend is still to the upside. We can't be surprised. But yeah, let's see what kind of continuation we get. So, do you guys have any other particular charts you want to go over? We're going to go over Farcoin. I'm going to go over our main ones first, of course. So if I go to Focus V2 and we go to Farcoin first, because this thing's been absolutely running.
Hey, Weatherman, can I ask you a question?
Yo, go for it, brother.
Yeah, so you know how the in the 4 hour we're getting bearish wave structure in terms of sharks.
Hmm.
When we get that pullback, is that worth loading that point for, like adding to the position?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing, and that's a if we get a pullback, right? Because there's no guarantees these harmonics are going to be where sellers step in. So if these harmonics are validated, we see weakness, and we get that pullback, I'd be looking for a 5-0. So if we hit the 886 and then drop, right? So the 886 is going to look like this. Let me just do this, it'll be easier. Um, Hang on, turn the wrong one off. There we go. What is wrong with me? There. Okay, if we get the 886 first, and then we get the 5-0 from there, right? Then obviously our 5-0 is going to look a bit different. So let me turn this one off, and then our 5-0 is going to look like this, 1.684, something like this, right? So pretty much the same area still, regardless. Let's say around 105. Still the same area, as long as we can maintain it any wicks to the area, we're still going to get smiley faces. If we get that first, then it's going to be a bit higher. But if we go there, that's also going to be a potential breakout retest on the daily of the trend line. You're going to have a cumulative structure as long as we hold it, and the bullish 5-0 can easily catapult you higher. People forget how powerful these are, right? 2024, I gave you guys the where is it? If I go back to the Aptos chart just to show you, I could entirely explain what was happening back over here based on the wave structures, right? So if I go here, there should be old harmonics here somewhere. There, look. What happened first on Aptos? Bearish shock, 1.13, right? What happened after that 1.13 though? 0.5 basically, right? 0.495, and this is why I was telling people, look, this is where you load up, because we also had the 0.5, or rather the front run of the golden pocket. If you did this, right, the 0.586 is going to be somewhere around over here. The front run of the golden pocket has been hit. You have a 0.5, you have a bullish shock, or rather bearish shock to bullish 5-0. If you're going to re-enter, this is going to be over here, right? Again, this is all, I've got receipts. You can just go back to my YouTube and look at the streams I was doing back over here, right? And so if anyone who missed the entries I gave in September, right? So these entries over here, they had a beautiful place to re-enter before we got that second phase up, right? That was a bullish 5-0. 5-0s are really, really powerful because why did Say top out where we did, right? Back in December of last year. Well, if we go to the Say chart, something I was telling people back here was, okay, we've hit a shock, we've got that 0.5 retracement. Guess what? That is a 5-0. Right? So then this was the short entry I gave on Say, saying, okay, we've hit the 5-0. If I go and turn this off, hang on. There. 0.5 on the shark, 0.886 on the shark, and then the 5-0, right? We've hit the 5-0, aggressive buyers are coming in, they're not being rewarded. You've got higher high in price, lower high in RSI, daily bearish divergence, and then you've got a shift in trend followed by a lower high, what was on support, back to resistance. Yearly levels, flip the resistance. Therefore, that was the short I gave on Say, right? Back in December. Again, what? Off a 5-0. 5-0s are really, really powerful. So if we get these 5-0s across the board here, I will be adding. I'll be adding to AVAX, I'll
Got
be
it.
adding to Aptos, I'll be adding to Farcoin, so on and so forth. But yeah, hopefully these
Thank you,
5-0s,
bro.
no problem at all, brother. Hopefully these 5-0s hit. That'd be absolutely massive if they do end up hitting. If not, then it's what it is, right? But hopefully they do end up hitting. There we go. But yeah, so that was say, right? But yeah, that's the 5-0s. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of. Hopefully we literally hit it today and then start the drop. That'd be amazing. Today is Wednesday now, technically. So maybe flush into, like, you know, towards the end of the week, chop, and then go up by next week. That'd be amazing. Get the cumulative structure. But if not, I'm completely open to this just blasting off from here. I do not care where position now, right? But yeah, that's Bitcoin. So let us spam through this. Any memes? I'm in Suimon. I got in there from when Ryu was told me about it, DM me about it a little while back. I'm in Blub for Sui. Ponzi told me about Blub. I'm in House. That's a meme. Farcoin. I'm not holding anything else. I have to dust my wallets off. Like I said, the challenge account that I started with, I got it because I got rid of like a lot of old coins, some memes I've been airdropped, so on and so forth, right? From my old account, from my wallets that I hadn't used in ages, basically. So I think memes is going to be good. There's going to be plenty of memes that do well. For example, Fog's going to do well, right? Right now on Sol, there's one called Mask that's taking a lot of mind share. Virtuals, that's another one. There's loads, yeah. I'll take a look at that, bro. Maybe I'll put some money into it too. NPC, okay. But that's that. So let's take a look. Let's just go through this. Aptos looks fantastic. I'm not in a swing for this. I'm simply in spot. Okay, on my challenge account, 3k spot, easy. AVAX, I'm not on a swing for this. I'm in spot, right? Around 3.6k spot back. Challenge account, easy. Say, I'm not in a swing. I'm in spot. Around 3.6k spot, easy. Sui, I'm not in a swing play. I'm in spot, right? Again, around I put around 3k, let's say, right? Right around is what, about 3.6, I think. So around $600. I'm not, when I say the challenge account is growing, I've not included any spot profits in there yet. I've only talked about it in terms of the swings, because spot's really going to shine once these, like, you know, start breaking up, right? Ondo, I'm in a swing for this. No, sorry, I'm in a spot for this, not swing. I'm in a spot for Ondo, 3k, right? Hype, I'm not in hype in my challenge account. I've talked why, but hype, we have hit finally, or just about front run, the ABCD 1.272. Surprise, surprise. Also, what did I say so many times? If you see buyer strength at this diagonal, do not fade it. That is literally the same place again where we put in high, low, and then we've gone. This is a deep crab we've got, right? So now, anywhere between $42 to $45, basically. If I see weakness here, this is where I'll be looking to. I'm not even gonna, like, you know, actively look for shorts. I'm not going to, right? Because this thing is on price discovery. There's no point shorting something in price discovery just because it's hit a magic line. This is where I'll be watching for weakness. If I don't see weakness, I'm not touching it. As simple as that. Hype can easily just keep going up, right? Shallow golden pockets for the win. Fuck deep golden pockets in uptrends or downtrends. If your trend is strong, just let the shallow do the job for you, right? I'm not in Doge in my challenge account, okay? I didn't want to be in too many projects at once, so I'm not in Doge. But for those of you, I am in this in my main account, obviously, not in the challenge account. For anyone that did get in off the 886 entry, however, you're up very, very nicely. Right, Doge is still get to do well. I'm just not in this in the challenge account. I'm in this in my main. Apart from that, of course, we've got ENA as well. 3k in spot, no swing. Ton, swing play. Housecoin swing play, Ava AI swing play, Neo GMX ARB, all swing plays, Cetus, bit of spot, bit of swing play, OP swing play, LDO spot. That's it. Okay, and of course ETH BTC, a little bag of this, just to see how much I can take it up. I've loaded this up into Prime XBT, so it's in a different wallet. But yeah, you know, everything looks so good, and this is, hopefully you guys can also see the power behind why I say, you know, in moments like this, right, low leverage isolated swings are going to do so well for you, honestly. People think you need to be high leverage, right? You need to be, you know, longing with everything you have at the max leverage. The only time I do that is in scalps. You guys know my strategy. You're not doing that for swings. That's not the point of trying to enter swings. There's no point trying to enter swings that way. All you're going to do is give yourself a headache, right? But the biggest winner right now by far is this one right over here, which is the Farcoin long. I'll put this in chat for you guys so you can see it. This is literally just, it's been a couple days, right, since we talked about it last, and we can see pretty much, there you go, that's the current Farcoin position. I'm still not fully allocated either. Like I said, I had that one $1,000 position size extra bid, which is in 3x about $333 basically, down for if Farcoin had raided that level I would have loved to get. Right, I had a bid a bit lower over here, right, just past the 618, this area here, in case you hit the shark, and then you went. We never hit it, we front ran, so I cancelled it, right, that's it. Now I'm only going to enter that if Farcoin is another one that gave us, I believe, if we take a look over here, so that smiley face we were talking about is clearly not going to happen, so we're just going to move on from that. So let's see, what do we have? This thing is so strong. There we go, 1.618. Like I said, everything has been hitting 1.618. And you know what? Let's put this to over here. I want a minimum 382 here just to keep it all nice. You could do it from there, but you know, this makes sense, something like this, right? There. We've obviously gone above the 886. Also, I was going to say we haven't yet. 886 is going to be slightly higher. It's going to be over here. In fact, that 86 is pretty much perfect. Lines up with a 1.618. So 141 Farcoin first. Let's see what happens over here. Do you know what, the autism in me won't let me do that, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm just going to, even though it's not going to matter much, I'm going to go and line it up with a 1.618. There. There. So there's your first target, and if you get above this, this could be a front run for all we care about. 1.13 would be next, right? Which is your extension of the shark. Think about it like your hop. For now, that'd be around 152, and honestly, I hope we get it. Just deep extensions. Fuck you to the bears. Really rub salt in the wound. And then, once they think, yeah, I'm gonna long here, go against them for a bullish 5-0, make them think, oh shit, short back down, only to melt up in their faces again. There we go. But yeah, there's that. Of course, you can put this X point left to get different results. I'm just going to pin it to this, right? Because that gave this big impulse down. Just keep it simple. But yeah, Farcoin absolutely fantastic. Look, I'm not going to be taking profits here. That's, you know, I think we can go higher. So I'm not going to be taking profits here yet, okay? Not until I see some serious weakness coming in. What I am going to do is, if we do get that pullback now, back towards this area, which was your, you had a bearish harmonic, or rather this area ABCD, yeah. This ABCD is T1. If you flip that back into support, that is where I want to size up. We would still get a cumulative structure, technically speaking, around that area, right? Support, radon liquidity, reconfirmation of support. So even if Farcoin goes back down over here, I do not care. I don't care. I'm not taking profits because for a swing, there's no way you're going to accurately predict every single time where the peak of the move is, where the low of the move is. I do not want to ruin my average for absolutely zero reason. Remember, we're not here to try and retire off this little move. That's not going to happen. Okay, we are here to try and catch this running to new highs and making a new high inevitably, in my opinion. So if you get that, then I'll size up. That's all I'm doing for now. If you are up and the profit means something to you, do not follow me. Okay, I'm simply telling you what I'm going to be doing with the challenge account. Taking profits is a very individual thing. Don't ask someone else when you should take profits. You're never going to be content that way. Take profits when you look at your trade and you think, oh, but I could use that money. Just take the profits. There'll always be another trade. You can always size back up in the future when we get a flush, right? I'm just telling you what I'm doing with the challenge account. That's it. You guys already know I've taken profits on my big spot bag in my main account, so on and so forth, and my swings, right? On my scalp to swing longs, everything we opened from down here, that was all close on this move up here. Right, added some back at the lows here. That's it. When I'm not going to do anything here now for my main or for my challenge account that I'm running with you guys here. But yeah, this is by far the biggest play right now for our coin in terms of a move up. So what's going to happen if this drops, yeah, and I see strength coming in, right, and I'm looking to size up. Whenever I'm happy to size up, I am now, what I'm going to do is whatever's remaining I'm going to throw in, but I'm going to increase the leverage, put my stop loss to break even. Okay, so I'm going to slide that leverage meter up to maybe 6x, 10x maximum if I think it's not going to bring my liquidation too close to the current price. Anywhere between 6 to 10x is where I'm going to slide the leverage meter up, and I can afford to do this now because we built a very solid position down over here. We're not going to be doing big additions over here. But if we get this drop, for example, you know, throwing in the final $1,000 in position size, sliding the leverage meter up, putting a stop loss break even straight away, you have a risk-free bag you're running for the next leg up, and all of a sudden the growth rate on that PNL is going to be even madder, right? And these are strategies you employ to reduce your risk on the higher time frame while still having strong market exposure. It's not all about slamming a leverage meter all the way to the right at the low. Anyone who says they do that consistently is absolutely scamming you. This is just not going to happen for swings. Okay. So, but yeah, that should be enough on Farcoin. And let's take a look. Let's look at Housecoin next. Actually, that's something we haven't really looked at. There we go. So we held this position here, right? On the higher time frame, we can see no significant closes below, which is why we resized up over here. Housecoin looks absolutely fantastic once again. We're positioning this, right? Where is the Housecoin's position? In fact, here's the Housecoin position. Let me post it in the chat. One sec, bear with me, let me find it. So this is Housecoin. Currently, let me send it here. And isn't it beautiful to see? The last time I shared this, I was saying, yeah, I'm underwater right now, and we cut 50% of our position size when the hard stop loss hit, but I added back when I saw the strength, and now look at it. There we go. That's it right now, right? And again, I'm more than happy to size up on this if we now confirm this to be very strong support, right? I still have some cash left, but that's the Housecoin position size. Currently it's 1,220, right? It's basically 310 times 3, right? That's it. But these can go like, you know, it might not look like much profits now, but remember, it's because if you're thinking that, you're thinking very, very local time scale, right? These are swings. We've got 3x leverage on. We're going to increase our risk in the future once we get those high-low shifts, right? And that's going to, of course, give us more returns the higher we go. But also, we aren't trying to capture this move. We're trying to capture here. That, you know, $300 unrealized is going to turn into 3,000, 4,000 very, very soon once we start hitting these numbers and you're on, you know, like 3x. Let's say we started up to 10x. By the time we get there, that's going to be like 9-10k unrealized very soon, right? That's the benefit of it. That's what we're trying to do with swings. Remember, different time scales, different time horizons, different percentages you're trying to capture on the actual move, right? So same with Farcoin. You know, yeah, sure, we are basically a G, which might not be much, but we have a 21k challenge account, guys, and I've only committed $300 and something. Think about that. We've committed a tiny portion of our entire challenge account to get 1k back in profits, and we haven't even, like, you know, broken out properly yet. I mean, sorry, we haven't even flipped the trend properly in terms of high or low yet. Right, we can go much higher. We haven't done any size ups since the last size up we did in the stream, and we haven't we haven't increased our leverage risk yet by moving our stop loss to break even. None of that's been done yet, so this can go much higher, right? Something else to add is, of course, the shark. Right? Yeah, we pretty much got a shark here. Look, pretty much hit the perfect, hit the shark, and then we're bouncing. So house coin looks very. It looks good. What can I say? As long as you're above this, we're gonna go higher. Right? We're gonna go higher as long as you're above this. So house, another one. There's so many things that look good, right? What about this one? Ooh, who remembers this? Bearer. Nearly hit that 1.618. Look, I'd love it if we did hit it. Hopefully we get one more drive down, because I would hate it if I did not get filled on this one on my main account. If we get filled on this I might actually open a position on this in the challenge account as well, should we get down to that area, or we, you know, go and flip some of these back into support shift trend. I'm not going to blindly enter here. I do really want that zone though. I'm not committing any more liquidity where we currently are. Okay, but that there, I think Christopher would appreciate this. He was taking this play here. Down over there on Bearer is going to be absolutely amazing if we get it. 199 to 179, low leverage swing long, isolated. This could print very hard as well. Massive lower lows in price, higher lows in RSI, bullish divergence on the MACD. Yeah, this looks ready. I would love one more drive, honestly, one more drive down and then go. That'd be huge. Okay, so we've done Aptos. Let's look at ICP. John said to look at ICP. This was another one that was looking classy. Really nice move off the lows. Target's up there, 1.618. Yeah, that's vertical accumulation. If I've ever seen it. You see this all the time, guys. I call this vertical accumulation, where you'll go grinding up slowly like this, right? All it's doing is chopping our leverage while literally putting in higher highs and higher lows over time. And this happens a lot. Like, you know, for example, before Bitcoin popped off, just notice the price action. And I'm talking all the way. You could have noticed it literally here. Look what happened before we started the parabolic move, right? Look what happened. Vertical accumulation. You vertically accumulated up to a key area. This was a very key area, and then you broke over, flipped to the support, and then off you went. Vertical accumulation happens on the upside, happens on the downside too, but it's very powerful when you do spot it. So you want to flip off that vertically accumulated area. So on ICP, I'd want to see some sort of breakout retest of that on the lower time frame. But very beautiful on ICP, right? You had the shark, you had the butterfly. Now you have on the lower time frame that, so maybe you get this, and then you come down for some sort of higher low. We get some sort of structure. We'll have to see. There's nothing been formed yet. Maybe the last lower high that led to the lower low, right here. Maybe go and flip that into support, put the high low, confirm the trend shift, and then go. Could happen, right? But yeah, ICP looks good. Would I add here? No. You can't manage your risk here, guys. You're next to resistance. Please don't add here. No financial advice, or you know what? That's financial advice. There's no point adding where we currently are, just below resistance, right? This was given to you guys literally down here. We talked about this before this move up. So we talked about it here, right? And so now just wait for a flip of that if you want to take some lower time frame entries or a pullback to 584. There's no point adding where you currently are, just below resistance. But that's ICP. Let's look at Magic. Magic is one of the weaker ones. I don't think it's done much yet. Let's take a look. I might be wrong though. Where did I put Magic? Where the hell is Magic gone? Was it not here? It should be in this list, so I don't know why it's not here. One sec. Let me see which one which Magic chart I sent. Let me just quickly look through the chart dump area. It's gonna be up over here. Magic. Oh, that's Chili's. Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. Hang on, I'm dumb. Magic was given in alts, no? Or am I wrong? Render we looked at once before. Look at that. So that was where the barrel worm was given. Virtuals was given down at those lows. So we did talk about virtuals here. We said it hit the 886, right? Yeah, virtuals popped off that bad. Cow, Aero, Guardian, JTO. Okay, then where the hell is Magic? Hang on. Forget where I give my... Is Magic over here? Yeah, no, okay, yeah, Magic's over here. So I use the MEXC chart. One sec. This is the one that I used. There we go. Yeah, Magic, I wouldn't say Magic looks particularly strong here right now, to be honest. Need to reclaim that diagonal, but for now let's go and turn that and that off. So you have hit this, right? You have hit the 1.414, but like I said, what you needed to do was get above this, which you haven't done. Right, so this could be a type 2 return of the butterfly, but Magic only really looks good above those lows. We just haven't been able to get above there. Aggressive buying went in, it wasn't rewarded, therefore you had a pullback. However, we now we are attempting to put in, if you get an 886, this is going to be just harmonics back to back on this. So if I go to the 4 hours once, pretty perfect here actually. 0.49, it's pretty much a 0.5. Yeah, this right here, this would actually be so nice if you got it on Magic. 886 back to the hop and then send it perhaps, because I see no reason to be looking for a, I don't see a reason to be looking for a 618. Wait, hang on, no, I'm wrong. I am very, very wrong. Never mind, we are at a very key area. Currently speaking, there's your low. There. Nearly at the 786. We haven't quite hit it, but that 786 1.618 area is right over here. Now of course you might say we're already at the 786 if you do this, so let me just do this properly for you. I'll show you guys how to do harmonics. Your first area would be here. If you do that, we're already at the 786, I reckon. There we go. If you take it from there, the Gartley has hit Now remember, Gartley's are plus or minus 3%, right? So 647 take away 3617, i.e. this is a completely valid Gartley, or you could just do this. Just line it up with the 618. Was it respected? Yes, it was. Therefore, the 618 is what you have to. Either way, you've hit a Gartley. Okay, so now I'm going to take that, put it here. And we're going to call this the internal Gartley 0.786, because you might get the 886 if this is lost, and that's going to be down over here. Internal deep Gartley 0.886, and then of course past that what we've got is log that, hide it, down at that low, 633, that's fine. So you have a PRZ right over here to begin with. This is your external Gartley, so just Gartley 0.786, there we go. It's something we haven't used yet. We haven't used yellow at these areas, so just, yeah. So we have a nice PRZ to begin with, right over here, which is what we're bouncing off. And if this is lost, then the 886 would take us pretty much at that low. Or yeah, that makes sense. It would take us to the same area as the bat, right? Which is right over there, yeah. So that'd be a deep Gartley 886 right over here. So what I'm gonna do is settings, coordinates, this. Deep Gartley, because it's both, right? So what I'll do is put that text in the center so it doesn't line up with that. And now we know we have two distinct PRZs we're looking at. As long as this holds, you're going to take a bit here. If this is ever lost, then you're going to take a bit at this area next. And then after that, we can, if this is ever lost, then we can basically just ignore this chart, right? But even down here, I think there's better projects to focus on than Magic. But you know, if these do hold and we ever reclaim this, then if we're lucky, then this could eventually have a really nice move up. It's just I don't really see much of a narrative for gaming coins right now, right? Maybe when GTA 6 releases in 2026, this will be ready to pop. But until then, but in terms of bidding, like, you know, if you're talking risk managed areas to bid, they're here on Magic. You're sub, bro. Bomba clad sub, brother. How you doing? I bet it's really late for you, huh? Okay, so there's that, and then what else did you want? Zeta, RDNT, Cetus. Let's speed run those. Zeta, I don't even have on this one. It's gonna be on focus. Zeta USD. Now I don't know what Zeta does. I just know I've got it charted. But that area we were talking about last, bro, because I think you asked about this before. We've hit the butterfly. We held it. So the PRZs, we're bouncing off the PRZ for now. Yeah. Trend plus PRZ respected. Again, I wouldn't do anything here where we are. You have what used to be a buy seller zone. Just go to the daily, it'll be easier to see. You have what used to be a buy zone currently turning into resistance at the mid. Maybe you're lucky enough to get a cumulative structure on this, in which case that would be the addition in my opinion. Otherwise I'd wait for a flip of this into support, to get back in, or rather to enter, size up, so on and so forth, would be above this, or fresh entries. I won't do anything where we currently are, just because you would be opening at resistance. What used to be support is currently resistance. On Zeta, very simple. On the macro, however, you can see the chart is very much at the lows, so I don't know what the narrative is for this, hence why I've not really paid attention to it. But the reason I've got it charted is, I think you've asked about this before, bro, so those areas are still holding, right? In fact, I think we talked about that be a nice area. It hadn't hit yet last time we talked about it, but now it has. So there's that. The other one was RDNT. Radiant, I believe this one was. This one right here. Yeah, Radiant holding that smiley face. I believe that's what we were talking about this last time. That can't be all though, surely. Oh, and I remember this one. 2 point, yeah, that's a shark. You did hit a shark on this one. I would find it very difficult to exact any sort of play here. It would have to be above this. It's a very big zone here. Weekly buyer zone from the past now. You've had a reaction off the lows. If you decided to enter here, your invalidation is going to be below 0.02102, so it's quite a ways off. You've taken out the last lower high that led to the low low, however. Yeah, okay, so as long as if you retest this box in the coming days and it holds, or even if you go below, you raid and reclaim, I would manage my risk around this box for now if you're looking for entries on RDNT, bro. That's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait for flips of like higher levels, because you're going to be approaching towards resistance as we go up over here, or visit back to the lows. So right now, I would manage my risk around this grey box. If it successfully retests or raids to reclaim, that successful retest or reclaim is what you're going to bid on. Otherwise, I would not be interested in this project. The chart is pretty much death. Again, there's going to be better coins, right? Like we've seen Farcoin pop in, every coin is pop in. This one hasn't really moved. So the last one, I believe, was Cetus. Let's take a look at Cetus. Like I said, Cetus, I'm a mix of swing longs and spot. The reason for this is because, again, I do believe SWI's going to pop, and I do believe Cetus goes with it. I don't think the hack's going to affect it too much. Let me rephrase that. That was terrible wording. I don't think the hack's going to have the very, like, death effect that the project's going to die effect that people think it's going to have. Again, I'm telling you guys, it's not a coincidence the hack happened just after we completed a macro wave structure and we were getting a really nice impulse up. Clearly the buying pressure was there. We hit the terminal 1, we hit the first target. Right? I made a whole Twitter post on this. And then we had a pullback from there. Right? And if I can open up the Cetus chart over here, I believe that's where I showed this. Yeah, there you go. Right, this is why I made a tweet about it. So what I was saying was, are you telling me that Cetus hit the 1.5 standard deviation on the macro? It raided the T1, right? It hit the liquidity rate in my system, remember? And then it dropped. Are you really telling me that's when the hack happened? Or if it's set up so perfectly in terms of TA? Just no, right? I don't think Cetus is going to die. I am going to be holding my spot, and then going to be adding on to my swing long. I'm not nowhere near fully positioned on the swing long for this yet, because like I said, I do think a raid of the range lows at this point would be absolutely amazing. Either that or a reclaim of this range highs. That's where I will add more to the swing, right? We've got this really nice area down over here. We've got a shark, you know, the bat 886 now. This move up to this higher low. The macro bat 886 still for a type 2. This is a part of a type 2 return, which I hope gives us a higher low, relatively speaking, or a rate to reclaim to then send us towards higher targets. And this is what we're trying to capture on Cetus. Again, remember, even at just 3x, you can imagine, even just that $1,000 position size at 3x can give you 5-figure profits. Okay, that is what we're trying to capture here potentially. And we're not going to focus solely on this, right? You know, we could top out over here, for example. But when we see that macro weakness, we'll take profits. But I would rather hold until that weakness comes in than, you know, cut my back too early and stuff at this stage as well, which is why I'm not taking profits off many of these swings yet, because these aren't the type of moves I'm trying to catch. If we go parabolic and we get the blow off top and we get that liquidity rotation into alts like I think we're going to get, then these projects can go way, way higher. Right? So there's Cetus. So that's all your requests on, bro. Okay, let's take a look. But yeah, let's spam through this. We have AVAX, beautiful, held the box, looking to go higher. Don't forget what we are trying to get to AVAX. My target here for now, what I'd be happy with on this macro move was $83. Anything above that is a bonus. Okay, that's the mindset that I have. Why? Because for example, AVAX is a layer 1. I would hate for it to only go to 40 and then fucking collapse, right? And bull runs over. That absolutely suck ass, I can't lie. You know, that'd be very, you promise a girl, you know, the time of her life and you're done in 5 minutes kind of vibe, right? If you wanted to go the mile. So, you know, this local harmonic, primary projection of that's what I want to aim for. These lower highs, I want all of that taken out, right? We have the Gartley 886 here. That is this white one right over here, and the reason I've got the 1.618 is of course because we know if you have a 618 it can potentially turn into a crab as well. But first and foremost we have the Gartley, so we have a really nice area over here. We could hit that area and then we could have a pullback going into 2026, 2027 that gives us like a macro high low on AVAX, perhaps before like a bigger move up. That could give us this wave structure. Now this is assuming that AVAX isn't going to make a new low or breach these lows next bear market, right? Which of course is, for now, I'm just talking about potential scenarios. For all we know, AVAX could trade at fucking $8, $7, $6 next cycle, who knows, right? Next bear market. But for now, I'm very happy if we get here. And then if we get anything above, it's just a bonus. I'm simply going to be watching for weakness, macro distributive structure, so on and so forth, to come in here. If it doesn't, then I'm happy for high prices. If it does, then that is where I will actually consider now, okay, let's take some nice profits off the table, get that off, secure some, and then, you know, let the rest run. Maybe we get a macro pullback, big flush, and then a high low to one more spike up. Who knows? We'll have to see, right? AVAX, say again on the one. Just look at where we are. Fantastic. These are my biggest bags in. These are the same bags I put in my challenge account. They're my biggest bags in my main as well, where you know, my proper actual account is 1.13s have been hit. Reclaims at key levels. All these ABCD 3.14s have been hit. Say just wants to go higher, in my opinion. Send it up. We just need to catch that nasty liquidity rotation, right? So let's say average around here. Even if we just go, I mean, we've already front run this, so in my opinion, that would honestly make sense. But even if not, even if you just go to the liquidity rate, that's a 340%. You do the math. Even if you just hold at a 3x, even if you just hold a 3x swing long, for example, right? $1,000 position size can get you 5-figure profits. Near enough 5-figure profits, in fact. Right, I've got a $3,500, $600 spot bag in this, I believe, in the challenge account, right? Again, you do the maths, what's 339% of that? Multiply it by 3.4. It's going to be double 5-figure profits, right? 21k can start absolutely going up very, very quick, basically. And right now, that's under the assumption we don't then take some profits out and then put that into, like, you know, another new play that we see, and we just absolutely don't snowball out the hell out of it, right? If we actively take in profits to then rotate into other things, then that compounding effect can increase the size even more, way faster. But say, SWI, you can see the strength in this one. I don't need to explain anything. SWI. We literally, that B point thesis was hit. We took that out. That is a daily, guys. In case you haven't clocked, we have shifted out. We have changed character on the daily. The last lower high that led to the lower low on the daily has been taken out. We just need a higher low to come in once again, and we are back into a daily uptrend. That's crazy, right? Again, harmonics 1.618, ABCD 2.618, just confluence after confluence down at this level. This was a banger trade, 5.2 RR. If anyone took that, scalp the swing mindset trade we talked about, right? But SWI, I'm just fully in spot, so for the challenge account as well. For the challenge account, I'm fully in spot on SWI, right? No swings. This is the one I was interested in. Now, we did not get a 618, which sucks, because off a 539, this is going to be a 4.0. And for a 618 deep, for a normal crab, 3.618 is your max, let's say, D extension, right? So this does exceed that by a tiny bit. So 3.618 would be around here. So a deeper pullback would have been nice on deep, but no worries, is what it is. Deep could go higher, so I might look for I might look for a scalp to swing play on this now on the challenge account maybe, right? If we get like some sort of smiley face structure around that box, keep an eye on it for now. But I was really hoping for that 618. That would have been really nice in this case. But yeah, so ENA, let's take a look at ENA. Let's take a look at TON. ENA, fantastic. Back to macro point of control. Struggling, always struggles here, don't forget. So we could see a nice pullback here. But again, the last lower high that led to the lower low has been taken out on the daily. The deep Carly was hit. Our key levels were hit. ENA spot back is up nicely, right? TON. Again, we're holding above the area we need to hold on TON, which is, I've got a chart I've done TON in, 1 second, different perspective on it. I think it's this one. Yeah. Well, that's the same, no? Where did I do it? Where did I do TON? Here. So our first PRZ was hit, Deep Carly 886, all of that was hit. Right, remember we said as long as this holds, we've hit a PRZ, we're going to be aiming for higher. We hit the primary projection of that bearish harmonic, right? Many key levels were hit. We only focus on this if this is turned to resistance, which hasn't happened, right? So TON is one that hasn't shifted trend, right? It's still consolidating. We could go lower for all we know, but I don't care. If we turn this to resistance, we start breaking down from here, right? We get below, then I'll cut, and I'll look to add a bit lower, or just re-add if we reclaim, right? But for now, again, as long as we're above this, I think TON looks ready to go up. But yeah, so that's TON. Arbitrum GMX, right? Let's take a look at ARB. Yeah, the entry on ARB was very, very simple. We had a Carly 786, right? We hit the Carly with, actually I thought there was bullish divergence here. Yes, there you go, right? Lower low in price, higher low in RSI. You had blue class A bullish divergence, so that was the entry. That was the reason I entered ARB, right? ETH was looking good. ETH betas, I realized, would probably catch a rotation, get into ARB, get into GMX for that very reason, right? So GMX swing is also looking nice right now. If we flip this now, I am going to be sizing up. Same with ARB, right? I've got some money left to size up on those. OP, hit key levels, nice bounce, right? OP higher. So we hit, you can just see, it's like OP. We had multiple harmonics lining up in this area, they hit. So now we're bouncing up, right? 764, 786 diagonal for now. LDO, weekly bullish dips, boom. Massive move up on LDO. Insane move up. How can you be bearish when you see this? What is that? Class A bullish divergence on the weekly on both MACD and RSI, right? LDO just want this thing to absolutely send. This is such a hated coin. No one likes trading this, so this needs to run. It needs to go. But yeah, this is the, remember guys, when I sent that message a little while back, it wasn't even that long ago. I said, don't you guys get so excited when you think about how much higher we could be even at the end of this month, or in a few months time, how much higher we could be trading. We're starting to see the first moves of that now. Think about it. Think about like, you know, we're already making nearly 5-figure profits of just one green candle like this across many projects. Think about how much it can be once this shit's gonna be sat, you know, all the way up over here. For example, right, the 618, the 66. If we ever go and take the high out, right, primary projection, if it ever goes there, insane. This looks impossible, but if ETH goes to those targets we looked at earlier, it's not gonna be. Okay, the liquidity rotation is very real, and that's the thing I always tell you guys. If you think, oh, that looks crazy, go on log, or go on the quarterly, go on the 2 months, right? Go on the 4 months, the triennial, monthly, so on and so forth. Go back to last cycle and look at, on average, how much return you got on a month, 2 months, 3 months. You're going to see plus 100, 150% candles across the board on the monthly. You're going to see plus 400, 500% candles across the board on the 3 months. Okay, this is not by any means me pulling numbers out of my ass. It's very, very possible. If we get concentrated liquidity rotations into select projects, it's very, very possible. Okay, so again, but that's not a magic number. We're not guaranteed it. If you see weakness anywhere, more wave structure develops, and we start seeing signs of toppiness, we just take profits accordingly, right? But that is, you know, that's pretty much everything. Yeah, this had a nice. I wish I'd taken this now. I was contemplating taking this on the challenge account, but I didn't want to be too deep into ETH as well, right? So I'm an ARB and GMX, OP and LDO for ETH betas, and I was hoping we'd get a raid. We didn't, is what it is. But if anyone did take, because I said, okay, if anyone does want to enter, wait for that close, and then just put your stop loss below. If you want to keep it tight, that mid. If you want to keep it a bit wider, that low. That's what we talked about, right? So if anyone entered with either of those, you were nice profits on this one. But yeah. Okay. No problem at all, bro. No problem at all. But anyway, I think that's gonna be it from me, guys. I don't have much else to go over here, unless there's anything you guys want looking at. Oh no, let's look at Near as well. Near's another one. SATA resistance right now. Okay, so again, don't be hasty here. SATA resistance, but again, last lower high, that lets the lower low gets taken out, and would you believe it? This was a 1.414 liquidity rate of the shallow golden pocket now, right? Very much still in line for a shark. 0.886 of the shark is going to be over here. There. So get there 502 higher would be amazing, or again 1.13 even would be nice. 1.13 would be even better. But anything like down there, pretty much everything's putting the same things up, right? But yeah, that right there in that case is going to be it from me, guys. I'm going to stop this recording here.